Um, so just a couple small things. There's not too much to them. These are stories things that I don't usually tell people on trips because I don't want to scare them. But learning experiences from out in the field. Um, Two of them, all three of the things that I'm remembering right now all happened in canyon that I've done the most. I'm blanking on the name. It's the one that comes out of Orderville. I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Orderville Canyon,
But the what's the canyon that you rappel down into it?
Engelstead, Birch Hollow.
Birch Hollow. That one. So Birch Hollow, the 100-foot rappel for those of you that have done it, the big tubed one. Um, I've had a couple incidents there. I think the first one was um, knowing that your rope hits the ground. It's a 100-foot rappel, right? But what you have to also think about is that it's 100 foot from the edge. It's not 100 feet from the anchor. So the
Mhm.
anchor is about 10 feet back from the edge. And we had like just a straight up 100-foot rope. And we thought 100-foot rappel, 100-foot rope,
Oh.
that's good. We're good. So we hook it up and toss it. And and I start going down the rope and I get most of the way down. And luckily, I looked down below me and I had like 3 feet of rope left, that was there, but probably like 16 feet of empty space between me and the ground. And so, like, oh crap, what do we do? And I was this is way back in the day before we started like experimenting with some of the newer devices. And so I was on a figure eight. Um, and I didn't know how to tie off at the time. A lot of things we learned how to do from this incident. And so I kind of called back up. It was me, my dad, and some Boy Scouts. And they were like, I'm pretty sure they were deacons or teachers, so they were all pretty scrawny. Um, so my dad proceeded to pull me up with the help of these little youth, and like 80 feet, she pulled me up. And as I was going up, because I was on a figure eight, more and more of the rope kept slipping through as I went. Because, I can only hold it so tight, right? Um, Hello to our newcomers. So my dad and these Boy Scouts are pulling me up this huge wall, and slowly I'm losing, my 3 feet turns to 2 feet, then it's like a foot, and I'm like, it dawns on me that my rope may not last the entire amount of time that it's taking them to lift me back up. And like I can hear my dad, like if any of you met my dad's a very vocal person, so he's like grunting and like making all these like noises, because I'm not light either. Um, and so, making a lot of effort to get me up there because I kind of mentioned to him as I'm going up that I was losing my rope a little bit. And anyways, finally like down to like 6 inches and I'm holding on to it like super tight and they're pulling me up over the edge. And so kind of as I was coming up, I let go of the rope to put both hands up on the ledge and kind of pull myself up. And my dad grabs me and pulls me up and like gives me a hug. And like I was like pretty calm considering the situation, and he was pretty stressed about it. But then I was like, yeah, that was crazy. And I was like, hey, look at this. I went to show him like how much rope I had left. And after I let go, it went all the way through. So had I not like been able to pull myself up, I was like off the rope entirely.
Wow.
So lessons learned from that: one, know how to tie off; two, make sure your rope is long enough, right? And take into account that sometimes your descriptions of the canyon don't give you like from the anchor, though sometimes give like the like just the rappel section of it. So you have to make sure you know how much rope you need for each rappel and always have extra. Have a rescue rope because that it would have been easier to set up like a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 mechanical system with a second rope and just lower that down. I could have hooked it in and they could have easily lifted me that way. Right. Or just kept me on that rope, fixed the other rope, and I could go back. There's like just a bunch of things you could do. That same big rappel in Birch Hollow, um, one time we were taking, I think there were clients, we were guiding some people, and we get down and we like try to pull the rope and it won't come. We're yanking on it, and then I realized, oh no, I tied the knot on the wrong side. So like I had put like a knot, but and a device to block. So I essentially had blocks on both sides, so it didn't matter where we pulled, the rope was stuck. Luckily, it was an old crappy rope, so we just like pulled it really tight and then cut it with a knife, and we just like hoped that we had enough rope for the rest of the canyon. And luckily, we did. Like there was a couple of the rappels that were left that just had like a few feet left, or like you like rappelled right off the end, and so that was kind of sketch. So always make sure you have extra rope, and make sure you double and triple check your rigging so that you know that it's retrievable, so that you don't leave rope behind. Because luckily if had we not like had enough rope, then we probably would have like spent the night there, or like late that night maybe search and rescue would have come because my mom would have called or something, and that would have been a pretty big bummer. And then lastly, the last thing that happened also in Birch Hollow was that again, me and my dad taking Boy Scouts, I totally left my backpack at camp and realized that at the top of the canyon, and like just like drove super crazy to get home, to get back to camp and grab it. Luckily, I have a great mother, and she realized that I forgot my backpack and brought it out and met me partway. So um, always make sure you have all your gear. And that's all the mistakes and learning lessons for the most part. We haven't had too many people get hurt or anything. Like long time ago when I was I think it was before my mission or recently after, we had like a Boy Scout master break his ankle, but ever since we've done Moab and Beyond, like nobody's ever gotten hurt doing any of our stuff that I can think of, at least. Anyways, so those are my quick little stories.